Well, the JSE has managed to secure another top lady. It looks like it's girl power at our landlord here at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. The managing director and country officer of Citigroup, Donna Oosthuyse, is set to join the executive of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. CEO of the JSE, Nicky is with us in studio. I saw Gary Clark, who's probably the last boy left, has now left. You've really got a strong team, but you've managed to almost pluck the best woman in South Africa to.
Well, I'm certainly I'm very proud of the fact that we're able, as the JSE, to attract such extraordinary talent and caliber of people. You think about that level of depth that is available in this country, and for us as an exchange to attract them, I think really speaks to the role that we have to play.
Why have you gone for women mainly though?
No, I haven't actually gone for women. I do think, though, we are an organisation with quite a large number of senior women, and that has a tipping point.
Okay, how many men have you got left on your exco?
I've got 11 people on my exco. I will have 3 men and 8 women, as it turns out. With John Burke runs the listings area. Our CIO is a gent, and then our major other areas are run by business areas run by women.
Well, that's good. You're waving a flag here to show that it is possible, because many of your listed companies say, but they can't find.
Yeah, so the point is, it is possible, and there are some unbelievable women out there. I don't have all of them, but I do certainly have a particularly special collection of them now. But I do think there is this tipping point thing. People know that this is an organisation that is driven to perform highly, which welcomes diversity, of which gender is part. And I think that once people know that, they start to gravitate towards us as a natural place to perform.
And good luck on the latest acquisition. The concern that one has, though, is Steinhoff leaving to go for a primary listing now in Frankfurt. Glencore, which came here, hasn't been an overwhelming success, not in the indices yet. How are you addressing those? Because in long term, those have got to be your big challenges.
This is absolutely right. I mean, our business is about servicing issuers and investors. And if you think about the issuers, the Steinhoffs of this world, we need good issuers on our bourse. We're beginning to get some of the issuers that went private equity back again. We're going to be welcoming Alexander Forbes on the 24th. And so we have got a really good section of issuers. It's important that we get the sorts of issuers investors want to invest in. So the likes of a Glencore are extremely important to our investors. We need enough free float here, so that they actually can get into the indices. And that's part of the conversation we need to have with them, because once you have enough free float, you're in the indices. That automatically creates the tracking attention that brings liquidity.
New listings are such a good indicator for investors as well, aren't they? Are you finding given that the JSE index is in record territory, that you're getting a lot of interest?
Not because the index is in record territory, but certainly you're seeing the end of the private equity lockups. So those exits are starting to happen. We're starting to be a place where African issuers are starting to talk to us, I think, more seriously than before. But the reality is that this is not a booming issuers space. On the other hand, our job is to make sure that we position the issuers we do have to the investors in a way that makes them accessible, so we run showcases here, we run opportunities for investors to actually engage with issuers. This whole exercise in repositioning the JSE is actually to make it much easier for issuers to get their story out to the investors.
But it's a very important thing you've said now, because we've both been around for long enough to remember when the JSE was in expensive territory. I'm talking about the index from an investor's perspective. The issuers, you just couldn't handle how many people wanted to list. But that's not the case now, which would also tell us something.
Yeah, I think people have many funding options. We make no apologies for the fact that as the only exchange, we set disclosure standards that allow investors to know a lot about what's happening with the issues, and that's not always a very easy space for particularly smaller and newer issuers to feel comfortable. So it's not a place that will attract and be attractive to every sort of issuer, but we do look at the range of products that we have and say, how do we increase that range? So it's not just about issuers, it's also about things like ETFs, ETNs,
bonds and so on.
Bonds and so on, yeah.
Before we finish, this FSB attack on the over-the-counter market, the other exchanges, forcing them to get stock exchange licenses, might that be maybe a problem in future for you if you get a whole bunch of other stock exchanges that are now being licensed?
Well, firstly, I think that you've got to look at what an exchange is. And an exchange provides a facility that matches investors in trading. Everybody should be treated the same. If you run an exchange for certain products and you run an exchange for another product, you should be treated the same. So the FSB has to treat all exchanges the same.
So what they're doing is
actually
not
the right
bringing
thing to
competition,
do.
but doing the right thing.
It's the right thing to do from a competitive landscape
Yeah.
perspective. You can't have some apply to certain rules and others not.
Nicky, thank you. Lovely
Pleasure,
to see you. Nicky Newton-King, our landlord here at the JSE. She's the Chief Executive of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange.